Welcome to the AVE New Student and Parent Orientation video. We are so glad you chose AVE for your schooling, and we're excited to get started into Canvas. Within this video, we'll cover things like how do we log in, how do we complete our course introductory modules, how to access and navigate course content, accessing your course grades, communication within Canvas, as well as how do we finish up our course and earn our credit. Utilizing the Wayne Learning Hub, we can access Canvas. Simply plug in your username and password and click Sign In. After you sign in, you'll see your ClassLink dashboard. Everyone's ClassLink dashboard looks a little bit different. However, everyone's will have access to Canvas by utilizing this image here. All you have to do to access Canvas is simply click the icon. That will then take us into our Canvas dashboard. As you can see, all the courses that you've been enrolled in are listed within the dashboard. Algebra, Biology, PE 1, and US History 1. They will all be located here, and as a student, you can rearrange the tiles by simply clicking and dragging to different locations. To access your course, simply click on the course tile on the dashboard. This will take us to the individualized course dashboard. Every single course will look very, very similar to what this course looks like. Not only will the title be listed, the current term, the welcome to the course, but also these convenient buttons. Click here to start your course, quick shortcut to about your teacher, any announcements that have been made in the course, accessing the learning modules, which is where all of the course content will be located, as well as an easy way to check your grades in the gradebook. In order to get started with the course, we simply click on this button here. Click here to start your course. By clicking on this button, it takes us to our first module, the course introductory module. As you can see, the course introductory module has multiple components that lead to it. However, you cannot access the rest of the course until that course introductory module is completed. Let's get started on the course introductory module. After clicking on the first item in the course introductory module, we'll see that we've got a quick message to welcome you to your course. In order to navigate to the next piece of information, simply scroll down to the bottom and click on the next button. You will then see any information about your teacher, including their name, office hours, contact information, any telephone numbers or email addresses that they might have for you to contact them. After reviewing this, simply click Next. This is a quick reference to how to communicate through Canvas. This will be covered a little bit more in depth later in the video, but this is always a nice reference to get back to that explains how to use the Canvas inbox and then how to message your teachers within Canvas itself. Simply click Next to go to the next piece of information. The course-specific information covers anything that's directly related to the individual course that you've been enrolled. This will not be the same throughout each course, so be sure to check the course-specific information to make sure that you are knowledgeable about exactly what you need to know and possibly different pieces of information and tools that you might need for a course. After reviewing this piece, simply click Next. The course pacing guide will tell you not only how many assignments are in the course, but also how many weeks are in the course for that semester, and then how many assignments per week that you should complete in order to stay on task. This is extremely helpful in order to complete courses for the semester, but at the same time allow time to study for exams, to study for the final exam, and to make sure that we've got any time if you need to redo any information in order to make your grade exactly what you want it to be.
The school grading policy is the next piece of information. As you can see, it breaks down each letter grade as well as which percent will earn that grade. The last column tells you if that credit will be earned within the course based on the criteria and the letter grade earned. The one we really want to avoid is this bottom number, the credit not earned. Anything from a 0% to a 59% will not earn a credit within the course.
In order to check your current grade, this is a quick reference as well. We're going to get a little bit more in depth with this later in the video, but to check your current grade, this is a quick way to get back into this. So if you go back into your course introductory module, this is a quick reference to how to check your grades, as well as any related Canvas guides that help you get a little bit more in depth. When we click the next button and completed the course prep tutorial, by doing this, we simply mark as done and then click next. What this will then do is take you directly into the information within your course. As we spoke about before, the rest of the course was locked until we completed this introductory module, but now it will be unlocked. After completing a day's work, we'll come back and access the dashboard just like we had before. In order to get back into our course, simply click back into the course dashboard. But no longer do we need to click here to start our course. We can go directly into our learning modules by using this button here, or on the left-hand side, clicking on modules. By clicking on this button, this will take us directly into the modules, as well as the information that we'll need to complete these modules. Any assignment that has a parentheses with a number in it is an assignment that will be graded. So as we scroll down, we can see that we've got one here, one here, one here, and one here. These are ones that are going to account for our final grades as we progress through the school. In order to check how we did on those, we simply click on grades on the left-hand side. And we can see any grade as well as when it might be due, the status if it's been turned in or not, the score that we've received, and then we can also click in individually to see the details of that information. So if we want to get information on how we did on assignment 11, for example, we would simply click here, which would then open up assignment 11, and any comments that we might have would be on the right hand side, as well as the score, how long it took us, when we turned it in. All that information would be located there. In order to get to the grades, we can also do it from the home dashboard. Simply scroll down to the bottom and click on Gradebook. Another important piece of information is communication within Canvas. Not only can you utilize the phone numbers of the teachers as well as their email addresses, we can also use Canvas to message our teachers. Simply click on Inbox. Simply click on the icon to compose a new message, and it'll take us into our composed message box. From here, we can select our course from our favorite courses. So if I was trying to message my teacher from Algebra 2-1, I simply click on that. Once I get into the box, I can click on the little person icon on the right-hand side, which would then allow me to choose if I want to message a student or a teacher. Once I've clicked teacher, I can then say, okay, out of all my teachers, I know I have Mr. Lewis. I'm going to click on Mr. Lewis. Plug in your subject, so this is the title of your message. One of the things that we always try to mention is utilizing the assignment numbers or the module numbers to really direct where our teachers are knowing that you're trying to get information from. So when I do this, I want to say I want help with assignment 02, for example. I don't want to just say help with assignment. I really want to help up front, understanding what I really want to do with this and really be direct, because our teachers are getting not only information from you as an individual student, but also from possibly other courses, other students. So we're trying to make it so that it's as easy as possible to get back to you with the information that you require. All you've got to do is plug in your subject, click in the box down here to put in any information, any questions, any directives that you might have for the teacher, if you're going out of town, if you're on vacation, all those different things that were there. As I plug in my question, I can also attach any screenshots that I might have. So if I have an image, I can do a screenshot and then attach that. I can then also do this. I can record audio or video comments. So I can send them if I'm doing a message or it's hard for me to type. I can send audio or video. So then when they review it, after I hit send, it's as easy as possible to get our answers that we're looking for. So simply hit send. As you can see, when we go back to the inbox, the icon will pop up and say that we have a message. After that teacher has gotten back to us, we simply click on the inbox, and then that message will appear here. When we click on the message itself, we can now see my original question and then the responses to the question. If we need to respond to the teacher again, we simply come up to the top and click on the reply button. Once we're done with our reply, simply hit send, and it will go back to the teacher. By clicking on this, we can now see the history of all the messaging that we've had with that teacher. That can then show us the date as well as the time of when we sent that.
At Achieve, we are dedicated to helping all students learn. Whether your student has an IEP, an ILP, or both, we're here to help. The accommodations made within each individual classroom can be made by the individualized teacher, as well as resource rooms that are maintained within the Canvas dashboard. If your student has an IEP, an ILP, or both, they will be automatically added to the Canvas dashboard upon their entrance into the school. If your student has an IEP or an ILP and does not see the resource rooms like here, we need to know as administration to help get them into the correct locations, as well as update their IEP or ILPs in order to get them the accommodations they need. If your student needs help throughout the day, they can simply visit one of the two resource rooms, the E&L resource room or the special education resource room. After visiting the resource room for E&L, we can see that they have a daily help session button, as well as the schedule for when those help sessions occur, the morning session as well as the afternoon session. Simply click on the daily help session link, which will redirect you to a Google Meet to meet with one of our teachers to help your student with the accommodations they need. If we go into the special education resource room, we can see that they've divided their links into two separate links, a morning help session and an afternoon help session. Just like before, simply click the links, which will redirect you to Google Meets, where your staff member will be there to help you along the way. If you have any questions about your IEP or ILP, or if the resource course is not listed on the dashboard in Canvas, please reach out to your student's counselor by email or by calling the Achieve Virtual Education main phone line at 317-988-8450.
In order to finish the course, not only do we need to have a 60% or higher in the course materials, we also need to have a 60% or higher on the final exam. In order to get to the final exam, simply click on the final exam. And from there we realize that we need an access code. This access code will be set by your teacher.
By communicating with your teacher, not only will you be able to complete your course, but you'll also understand the current policies of the school in order to attain your credit.